Chapter 560, Traces. Lato rarely divulged details about the sea prayer ritual. He spoke with a weighty demeanor. Yes, the governor of the sea ties the knot with the sea, quelling its violence and bringing peace. They truly become the spouse of the sea, commanding authority over this stretch of water. As the assistant and deputy hosts, we also gain varying degrees of in Port Santa receive some boons, although they are limited in number. So, the governor of the sea is synonymous with husband of the sea. The assistant and deputy hosts are like close friends or family busy assisting at a wedding, naturally earning gratitude. Those with the sea bloodline are akin to children attending a wedding, typically gaining some candy. Lumion attempted to comprehend Lato Gairo's description of the sea prayer ritual by combining reality and wedding traditions in novels. Intrigued, he inquired, does the governor of the sea engage in those acts with the sea? Aren't weddings supposed to conclude with newlyweds consummating their marriage? Of course, Lato affirmed. After the wedding, the sea will bind itself to the four maidens of the sea. Through their union with the governor of the sea, the first child of each maiden of the sea is a noble with a pure sea bloodline, possessing the strongest beyonder powers. Why four and not one maiden of the sea? It's because individual humans can't endure the vastness, expansiveness, weight, and transcendence of the sea. Enough partners are needed to share the burden. The more I listen, the more ominous it becomes. Marrying a maiden of the sea is akin to marrying a remnant of the sea's power. It's no wonder they're highly valued, and their destinies change. The only challenge is acknowledging and loving their wife's first child. Lumion contemplated for a moment and remarked, and the governor of the sea can withstand the passion of the sea. And it was four at a time. Lato, devoid of pity or sympathy, stated, one of the two most crucial purposes of the vigil ritual is to utilize the house and some of the sea spawn concealed within it to transform the governor of the sea's body, enabling them to withstand the violent and unrestrained sea. That's why the governor of the sea can only serve for a year. Even with the physical transformation, the power acquisition, and the beyonder enhancement, they won't endure much longer. Consumable, the husband of the sea is a consumable. Lumion sighed inwardly and queried. Then, why would the governor of the sea return to the sea after leaving office? No one knows the exact reason, but there's a certain conjecture. Juan Oro believes that the sea doesn't allow those who were once its husband to start a new life, and I believe that the modifications of the vigil ritual, the intrusion of spousal intercourse, and the influence of maritime authority make the governor of the sea more and more like a sea creature and less human. Eventually, he will inevitably return to the sea that gives him peace and comfort. Lato felt that his deduction was correct. What exactly is the sea you're referring to? Is it a natural spirit or a creature beyond, controlling the sea? Lumion replayed Lato Gairo's answers in his mind before asking, sea spawn, like the wrinkled monsters that can disguise themselves as devils, and the long black insects that control humans by burrowing into their necks. Yes, Lato responded, yearning for a cigarette but unable to move his hands. We, the children of the sea, are spawn of the sea. One of our duties is guiding certain sea spawn from the depths to settle on land using our beyonder powers, helping them reproduce. However, Ludwig mentioned that the Bating's black insects originate from another planet. Not some sea spawn. Lumion didn't rush to ask about the children of the sea's beyonder powers. Instead, he focused on the details of the sea prayer ritual. What's the other vital purpose of the vigil? Lato's expression hinted, don't you understand what weddings are about? Well, there's the exchange of rings for marriage. And the vigil ritual modifies the governor of the sea's body, attaching a unique trait to a fixed golden ring, matching it to the sea bride's identity. A unique golden ring, Lumion perked up and said, and then? During last year's April Fool's prank, Fringe members received orders to acquire a gold ring from Tors and conceal it within the lamb sacrifice's stomach. Then, following the completion of the other rituals, the governor of the sea will take the golden ring and cast it directly into the sea before the ship. He will utter in a unique language from the depths. We espouse thee, O sea, as a sign of true and perpetual dominion. If the sea consents to this union, gentle waves will stir, transforming into pure white foam petals that will shower over the four maidens of the sea. The returned ring carries symbolic weight, signifying authority over the waters surrounding Port Santa. Just the waters encompassing Port Santa? From the indications, it seems it's not the true sea, but rather something that affects this specific area of the waters. Lumion paused briefly before speaking. How do you express, "We espouse thee, O sea," in that peculiar language? Lato Gairo contemplated for a moment before emitting a chattering sound. Under the influence of the language comprehension charms, Lumion failed to grasp its meaning. He concluded it wasn't part of the northern continent's languages. Simultaneously, he observed the Knight of Swords in Lato's eyes, slightly shaking his head. If the Knight of Swords truly belongs to the Temperance faction that parted ways from the Rose school of thought to align with the Church of the Fool, he should possess knowledge of the southern continent's language. Additionally, with his high sequence and extensive tenure as a Beyonder, he must have encountered most supernatural tongues. Does this imply it's not from the language family of the southern continent, let alone ancient Hermes, Dragonese, Elvish, or other mystical languages? Lumion regarded Lato Gairo with an intrigued grin. Are you certain those words translate to, "We espouse thee, O sea"? Lato hesitated briefly before explaining, probably. This is a language passed down from ancient times, existing since the sea prayer ritual. There are only a few sentences. He's not sure. They hadn't systematically mastered the language, only capable of uttering 2 or 3 sentences based on the legacy. Lumion sensed there might be more to it than Lato's description. There was no denial if the true meaning was akin to open sesame. The folks from the Fisheries Guild and Milo Village might have been akin to the individuals Auror and Franca spoke of. They employed a peculiar language, its true meaning eluding them as they substituted it with their own interpretation. As Lumion pondered, his expression remained unchanged. Does the governor of the sea safeguard the ring after he acquires the special trait? No, Lato responded, shaking his head. In addition to the governor of the sea, the maidens of the sea, and sailors in charge of controlling the ship, there are 4 pure-blooded children of the sea acting as deputy hosts. They guide the governor and the maidens through the ritual stages, teaching the unique call to marriage. The golden ring is held by one of the deputy hosts and only handed over to the governor when needed. The governor of the sea doesn't have a chance to switch ritual rings. Suppressing his anxiety, Lumion continued at a measured pace. Did the sea prayer ritual fail last year? Lato initially seemed taken aback, but then relief crossed his face. Did the impostor seek your help? Yes, for some reason, the sea prayer ritual failed. The sea's rage claimed the lives of the governor of the sea and the 4 children of the sea serving as deputy hosts. Only the maidens of the sea and some sailors survived. The 4 deputy hosts are dead. Just as Lumion uncovered clues about April Fools, he sensed the link had been abruptly severed. The individuals with the best chance of substituting the ceremonial ring had all perished in the unsuccessful sea prayer ritual. Lumion thought for a moment before inquiring, what happened to the surviving maidens of the sea and sailors? They're still alive, but under strict surveillance. Realizing that the failure to last year's sea prayer ritual was exposed, Lato, not dwelling on the survivors' details, continued, "We arranged marriages for the 4 maidens of the sea who lack actual sea powers with ordinary family members. Though it won't bring about a Beyonder level change, it has its benefits. The sailors from Milo Village received some benefits from Juan Aro, but are restricted from leaving Milo Village until this year's sea prayer ritual succeeds." Shifting gears, Lumion asked, "Did the sailors transport the sacrificial lambs and other offerings for the marriage to the sea to the deck?" Yes, Lato nodded. Sailors handle such cumbersome and laborious tasks. Within the ranks of sailors, one among Bard, Mad Lady, or Ultraman had sneaked in. If the other side held a stronger Beyonder power or a mystical item from the Marauder pathway, they could snatch the genuine ceremonial ring during the exchange, swapping it with a counterfeit. It wouldn't be a surprise that the Marauder pathway, influenced by the Celestial Worthy, has key April Fool's members wielding matching strengths or artifacts. Lumion swiftly suspected this. He turned to Lato Gairo, keeping his tone composed. "Tell me about the 4 maidens of the sea and the survivors from last year among the sailors." Lato recounted the details from memory. Having absorbed the specifics about the potential targets, Lumion inquired further. Were all participants in the sea sacrificial part thoroughly checked? Absolutely. No unauthorized items allowed on board to maintain the ritual's integrity. And before the ship reaches its destination, Juan Oro will vigilantly oversee using his powers, Lotto elaborated. As anticipated, Lumion nodded subtly. What powers does Juan Oro wield?